this series, which is a spotlight for the remarkable talents and expertise within our community, offering a unique opportunity for women members to share knowledge, experiences, and insights that they are very passionate about. And before we start the webinar 3, it's my pleasure to introduce Jyanthi. She is the Women National Chair of FISHRAE, and she's working as a General Manager, All India Sales in Nadi Air Techniques, Chennai, a leading manufacturer of industrial fans in India with global standards. She's having 30 plus years of experience in sales and marketing of industrial fans, instrumental cooling, ventilation fans, and all kinds of industries across India. She's proficient at strategic planning, business development, projects, production, and lot to learn from her from finance and global partnership management. And I really liked that one line on your profile, which says, her success and winning strategy is accept challenges and stay committed. So that's really amazing to know. And it's my pleasure to introduce her, and she would also have a session with us.
Thank you, Bhakti, for a nice introduction. Thanks a lot. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to our Women in ISHRAE webinar series 3. I would like to run a small presentation about what is Women in ISHRAE. I request Meenakshi to run the presentation. Yeah. This is just an introduction about ISHRAE. And with great pride, I present our Women in ISHRAE committee across the country, zonal wise, north, west, south, east, and also our mentors. Next slide, please, Ma. This is just an intro about ISHRAE. That is, you have already seen the video right now. Okay, what is the women introduction, women in ISHRAE actually? This, as our government is deeply committed to fostering an environment where women can lead and drive development, our visionary leaders, Mr. Sachin Maheshwari and Mr. Vishal Kapoor, also mirrored the same aspiration, led women empowerment, and how this women in ISHRAE formed in 2017. The main objectives, next slide. The main objective of women in ISHRAE is to increase the representation and opportunities for women in the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration industry. Women in HVACR initiatives are in line with National Theme Mark, and we'll be focusing on technical education, digitalization, industry connection, environmental sustainability to enhance technical knowledge. Our vision is women to lead all society activities and thereby develop HVACR as society, and also as transition from mere women empowerment and women development to fostering women-led development and women driving development, and also inclusion of women force in all society activities. Though we advance technologically and economically, Women in ISHRAE Committee would like to ensure that women are not only participants, but are leaders in these transformation. We framed mission ensuring equal access, leveraging new opportunities, expanding their reach across all zones. Accordingly, we are having a 4 program that is called Shakti. Many people knows about that. This is a women leadership at national, zonal level and subchapter level. And also we initiate technical program called Femtech, that is a women expert at technology in air conditioning. This is also happening in all 4 zones. And another opportunities, we are having a She Alliance program that is with all our associates we are tying up. And next is a WA Network Forum. Today, what we are having it, we want to ensure, inspire the people and include, everyone in that environment in the industry. So we are having that talent program today. Next one is. Okay, our journey started in 2017. That time it was only a handful of people, that is 100 members. Today we are close to 1,200 members, and many of members are manufacturers, consultant, architects, scientists, engineers, academias, and professionals, and many more actually. Today, women in Ishtre, people are on board leading society as a society chairs, chapter presidents, CWC members in chapters, and also many people as zonal chairs and committee chairs are there. Today in Women in History, we are having 50 plus speakers are there actually. And in order, during our journey, we have, planned many programs. One of the programs is Dare to Dream, and we have also launched flagship program Shakti. I think I've already discussed with that. Okay, to have more knowledge and everything, we have also tied up with other associates and signed MOUs also. And today we are having, women chairs in 25 chapters. Okay, both in India as well as international chapters. So, our activities are some of the activities I'm just showing. This we are having, we had a meeting with our Ashray president also, being women, with Ms. Ginger's cousins. These are the MOUs which we signed with TRWGC as well as the Wiki. So we have conducted Shakti program, and there we can see many distinguished speakers were part of our program. One ad in Kalpakam, that's thing. Next one is the Pune. In almost in all programs, we had participants of nearly 300 people. This we had it in Pune. Chief guest were Mayor Pudumji. They shared their invaluable insights, adding great value to our events also. And this is in Delhi, we added. Another program is called Femtech. That is to encourage chapters who would like to focus on half-day program called Femtech, where women experts are invited to present their technical expertise. Next, it has happened in Bangalore also this year. Last month, we had in Ahmedabad also. Now this is now we come to this network forum. This is the third edition actually. First one, Miss Bhavana, in September she conducted. Next one is participated. And not apart from this, we are also having chapter programs, almost 40 plus programs we have conducted across the country. And we are pleased to inform our upcoming Shakti events are there. It is happening in Chennai on 21st December, in Mumbai 4th January, Vadodara on 11th January, Dubai in 1st February. And next. This is an international program which we added last month in Calcutta. This is our flagship program. This is the first, first time in our history we had this program. Okay, we had from all over the world. The speakers were, that is a knowledge session, women in cool careers, a story of cooling. All our women programs are lined up to encourage, motivate, and inspire more women to join our industry. So I request everyone to stay back and enjoy the rest of the program. I welcome Kshama Jain. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jyanthi, for taking us through Women in History, and sure it's very inspiring from everywhere who is attending. We're starting with our session, and it's my pleasure to introduce Kshama Jain. She's a managing director of KHEMS Group. And about Kshama, I would say that she's an amazing woman. She's been recipient of Global Women Business Award and Women Entrepreneur of Madhya Pradesh. She studied her Bachelor of Science in Economics from the University of Essex in the United Kingdom and has credited with introducing screw chillers and heat pumps to the Indian market. She was also an immediate past president of Ishray Indore chapter, a treasurer and CWC member. She has been managing a global solutions provider in thermal energy storage, serving clients in India, Southeast Asia, and Europe. Her topic for today is the Chillar Heat Pump, and she'll have a presentation, and I'm sure you will have question and answer session after that. So welcome, Shaba, and you can start your session.
Thank you so much for a great introduction. Thank you. It is overwhelming, actually. I'll just share my screen. Please confirm whether you can see it.
Yeah, we can see.
Great. Okay. So good evening, everybody. Today, our topic is chiller and its future in HVAC industry. What we are going to do is just talk about what chillers are and what are their applications, where they are aligned, and how best they are in comparison to every other technology which is available in the market today. I would love if somebody have any questions in between. I can also answer the questions in between the presentation. So we will start with this. What is chiller? And then, the types of chillers. Is VRF a threat to the chiller industry? And future of chiller in HVAC&R. So this is a broad spectrum which I am going to cover in the presentation today. So what actually is the chiller? Chiller is a machine that removes heat from liquid via vapor compression or absorption refrigerant cycle. So what we are going to do is that we are going to differentiate between what is vapor compression and what is vapor absorption, so that it is easier for us to understand both the types of the chillers and understand where a vapor compression and vapor absorption cycle is applied to. This liquid can then be circulated through a heat exchanger to cool the equipment or the process. As a necessary byproduct, the refrigeration creates waste heat that must be exhausted to the ambient. So, when we talk about the type of the chillers, we will understand that this heat is either exhausted to the environment, or in one way or the other. In the air cooled, it is directly exhausted, and in the water cooled, it is exhausted via cooling tower, which we will discuss in the coming slides to come. And chillers may use a hermetic scroll, a semi-hermetic screw, and centrifugal compressor. So basically, the chillers are identified on the basis of what compressors we use in the chiller. So either it is a scroll compressor, a screw compressor, or a centrifugal compressor. Now, earlier on, we also had other compressors, which I will also talk about. Now, this is a typical refrigeration cycle, the principle of a chiller. Now, here we see a cooling cycle where we know that there are basically four major components which are applied to a chiller. The first is the compressor, which is the heart of the machine. The second is the evaporator. Third is the condenser. And fourth is the expansion valve. Now, there are many other components which come inside the chiller, but basically, when we talk about any refrigeration principle, these are basically the four very important components which define what capacity and how well the chiller is going to perform, how well we are going to extract the COP out of it, and subsequently the IPLV and the NPLV of a chiller. So in short, chillers are simply the machines used to generate cold or chilled water, which is distributed around the buildings to provide air conditioning. So chillers, this chilled water is taken to the entire building either through a CPVC pipe in case of a scroll machine, or a MS pipe in case of a big screw machine or a centrifugal machine. So the basic fundamental of a chiller is, as we said, that we know that there are different types of chillers. So it is important for us to understand what their names mean and the difference between them and their applications. So the first way to categorize a chiller is on the basis of vapor compression and vapor absorption. So when we talk about a vapor compression, as I just informed, there are basically four major components. So a compressor, evaporator, expansion valve, and a condenser. The picture which you see here is basically a air-cooled chiller, but we can also talk about water-cooled chiller in a vapor compression cycle. And here, basically, we are talking about all the types of compressors which are used, like screw, scroll, centrifugal, all those type of compressor. In vapor absorption cycle, what majorly happens is that you have a generator, a absorber, and these generators and absorbers are actually the main components of any vapor absorption cycle. So the refrigerant used in this vapor absorption is normally ammonia, and is used for industrial application as well as any other application like a cold storage application, or such an application where bigger machines are required. Because it is using ammonia as a refrigerant, it is basically a green type of a technology, very widely known, with both its own pros and cons. So we talk about the type of chillers. Basically, vapor compression cycle, the chillers can be divided into two parts, which is air-cooled and water-cooled. So in what is the difference between air-cooled and a water-cooled chiller? A water-cooled chiller normally is, when we talk about the pros of water-cooled chiller, these are actually applied to large cooling loads where the water is not scarce. So first thing is that the water should not be scarce, because you're actually dissipating a lot of water through cooling towers. Okay, these are very energy efficient, and hence most of the times wherever we do not face any scarcity of water, people do prefer a lot of water cooled machine, because the COPs are good, the IPLVs are good, and they have a better life and longevity. Why a better life and longevity? Because here, we don't involve a lot of fans to be run to dissipate the heat to the environment, which use a lot of bearings, etc., which normally we have seen that the age of the fans versus the age of the shell and tube condensers is very different to each other. The cons of a water-cooled machine is that these are dependent on cooling tower and the quality of water. So for example, if anything happens to the cooling tower, or the cooling tower is getting less efficient, it directly affects the water-cooled chiller. Water-cooled chillers cannot be installed in the areas of water scarcity. Water-cooled chillers are located within the building and are very large machine, so depending on the compressor technology used, they can create a lot of noise and vibration inside the building, which is why they are located usually in the basement. And water cooled chillers are sometimes a little bit costly to install and maintain. Why costly to install and maintain? Because if we talk about the water quality, the condensers are to be maintained properly. Now, with all the advanced technology available in the market, there are a lot of automatic tube cleaning systems which can be installed with the water cooled chiller to maintain the condenser quality and hence the quality of the machine in general. Water-cooled chillers take up space within the building, and they need mechanical plant rooms, more risers, more pumps, cooling towers, and water treatment plants. Now, when we talk about air-cooled chillers, sometimes, there is a notion that an air-cooled chiller is more costly than a water-cooled chiller. But when you compare apple to apple, which means that an air-cooled chiller per se, a water-cooled chiller with its pumps and the cooling towers, etc., etc., we have noticed that air-cooled chillers may cost less to install because they have less allied equipments attached to them. Air-cooled chillers require less space and can sit on the roof and do not need a mechanical room. Air-cooled chillers require less maintenance compared to water-cooled chillers, again because they have less equipment, and they are much simpler to design and do not need another set of pumps for the condensers. So mostly air-cooled chillers are plug and play kind of a situation. Cons of the air-cooled chiller is that because they sit outside in the building, they really do create a lot of noise. The compressors create a lot of noise. However, with again advanced technology available, you can put a acoustic cabinet on the compressor to reduce the noise. We have also seen that in a very polluted area, if you have installed an air-cooled chiller, it directly affects the bearing of the fans and hence the capacity of the condenser to dissipate the heat. Air-cooled chillers typically do not have as long service life as water-cooled chillers because they are more exposed to all the sun, rain, frost, snow, and hence you see that the condenser coils may deteriorate a little bit faster than a shell and tube kind of a condenser which is used in a water-cooled chiller. And then air-cooled chillers can suffer from damage, blockages, and recirculation issues because of all the pollutions going into the environment. Okay, now we can classify the chillers also on the basis of the compressors, like how I started. We have centrifugal compressors. Now, when we talk about centrifugal range, it normally starts from 450 ton and goes up to 3,500 ton as a single machine. So all the large applications wherever chillers are used, they use centrifugal compressors. In centrifugal compressors, now we also have a latest technology of magnetic levitation compressors. So centrifugal compressors, mechanical, and centrifugal compressors, magnetic levitation. These are two types of compressors in centrifugal which are applicable for very, very large application. Then we have screw compressors, which start from a range of 30 ton and go up to now the range of somewhere around 650 tons. Okay, a single compressor that big of a screw compressors are getting manufactured across the world now. So screw compressors are normally used for a medium type of an application, very popular wherever a single machine of say 300, 350 TR is required, and then you can apply a multiplier to it. And these are very efficient, very long life, and because they are very serviceable, they are very popular in technology today and have been there since a long time now. So a lot of development has happened in the screw compressor, and hence day by day it has become more and more efficient. Then a scroll compressor. Scroll compressor is normally used for smaller application. When we talk about any application from three ton or a 2 ton or even 1.5 ton, and goes up to the level of 100 ton. So wherever you have a smaller application, you can see a scroll compressor running. And then you have recipes. Recip is a little bit of a older technology, but still used in some places like condensing units or where industrial application is more viable. So these are all the compressors on the basis of which the chillers are normally defined. So these are some images of machines. When you talk from left, it is a centrifugal machine. When you talk coming to the right part of the image, you're talking about a recip kind of a machine, and the image below is a scroll machine. So applications, we will just go through the applications of chillers. Chillers are applied wherever air conditioning is required. So it can be residential, it can be infrastructure, it can be healthcare, and it can be education. we see that a lot of air conditioning is getting demanded in education sector as well now. So when we categorize this broadly, it comes to building air conditioning, commercial projects, hospitals, hospitality meaning hotels, bigger or smaller, marine requires a lot of chillers, process, low temperature chillers, plastic industry. In plastic industry, the chillers are a by product, which means that to reduce the heat which is getting emitted to produce that plastic whatever toy or anything which is getting produced, to support the production of that machine, a chiller is actually required. Then in any industrial application, regeneration projects, mining, shipping, anywhere. So wherever you require air conditioning or wherever you require cooling, chillers can be applied there. What is the HVAC and our potential of India? We have seen that earlier when we talk about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years back, air conditioning used to be a luxury, okay? Today, it has become a necessity. So we see air conditioning requirement growing year on year, specifically when we talk about age beyond, I mean, when we compare 10 years back and today, air conditioning requirement has grown many folds. Okay, so building construction industry has grown. We have seen 6.6 CAGR, and HVAC systems do contribute 31% of the energy used by commercial buildings, and buildings account to more than 20% of the total energy used in India, with 3% of HVAC market only. Growth rate in coming 5 years is expected to be around 30% and above, actually. So this is a comparison. In 2005, you see a very small requirement of air conditioning in building industry. And today you see even the residential requirement has grown manifold. As I said, that because air conditioning is considered as a necessity, this sector has grown multifold, and in any and every household now you see air conditioners being applied. So when you talk about any city-wise survey, we see that percentage-wise, the upcoming retail spaces have been laid in front of you, and we see that all these spaces have been growing, and hence the air conditioning requirement in totality is growing. Global process chiller demand, we have seen that, up to 20 tons, when you see there was a short demand, but today we see that in every manner, in every scale, wherever you can apply the chiller, whether it is 20 ton or a 300 ton or maybe a 500 tonner and above, big chillers are coming into demand, basically because you see that data centers are growing, and with the growth of data center, there is huge demand of chillers growing across the world today. So this is a global chiller market. What we see is that this chiller market was valued at 8.9 billion in 2017 and should reach somewhere around 13.2 billion in 2026 with at a CAGR of 5.05% during this forecast period, okay? With rising demand of every application. I mean, we see the process cooling increasing, industrial applications increasing, demand of chillers in developing countries have grown multifolds. And today we see chillers being applied to every smaller and larger industrial as well as non-industrial requirement. So we have seen the growth of scroll chillers, screw chillers, absorption chillers, centrifugal chillers, and reciprocating chillers. you see that the graph, you can actually observe that every kind of chiller, the growth has been manifolds, and everybody who's selling chillers today in the market can get a respectable share to sell it in the market today. So, what are the institutional frameworks which are to be followed? Is energy conservation building code. We also have to talk about what impact it does to the environment, because a lot of word has been spread about decarbonization and how can we be more softer to the environment, how can the product be more green, and hence a lot of energy labeling has been done. We also have seen that there have been a lot of city-wise regulation. When you're operating on all India level, you understand that which city is more following the decarbonization norms, which city is reluctant to follow such norms. By and large, what we see today is that every place in India, every consultant or a contractor in India today is actually promoting more greener products, is trying to use more green gases to make sure that we are really softer on the environment and think about our children more than us for today. So these are all the kind of refrigerants which are used to manufacture a chiller. R22 is kind of banned and has gone off now. A lot of new refrigerants have come, and we see what kind of effect it does on the environment. On the basis of the effect it does on the environment, the machines are designed by the consultant and hence are being customized and applied by the manufacturer. Today, we see a new refrigerant like 514 entering in comparison with 134A, where we have got, an immediate exchange of the refrigerant, not impacting a lot on the performance of the machine. However, 514 is a bit more softer on the environment and hence is getting more popular. All the foreign makes who are entering India today are also entering with a softer refrigerant, so that people are aware that which refrigerants are more focusing on the decarbonization and will be a little bit more softer on the environment. Now, when we talk about chillers, the immediate thing which pops in the mind is a VRV, and it is actually basically since last 15 odd years we have seen the growth in trend of VRV in Indian air conditioning industry. We have seen how fast it has grown and how fast it has actually complemented the chiller in one way or the other. So we will not say that VRVs are bad, but we just want to put it forward that we have to apply a technology to a correct installation. So we have to choose which technology has to be applied to that specific application and where it has to be applied so that it gives the benefit to the user as well as the seller. So chillers are tried, tested, and trusted products with stable market, but face challenges from the new technologies. Okay, so this is just a broad comparison which we have made how different a VRV or a VRF is to the chiller, and then we are just making a conclusion. There is no hard feelings here. We are not promoting any technology, but we are just trying to say which technology has to be applied where. So efficiency of VRF is better than a chiller. When we talk about efficiency wise, we see that any VRV is limited to its copper pipe's length. And in chiller, you can run kilometers with the chiller, and there is no copper pipe involved here. The copper pipe is actually restricted to the outdoor unit, and it is attached to the MS or a CPVC pipe, and you just have to pump in the chilled water to the building. So there is no restriction with the chiller per se. Safety of VRF is better. Sometimes when you talk about safety, you always have to think that a VRV or a VRF, the refrigerant is running in the building. So how safe it is depends upon the application. In chillers, the chilled water is running in the building. So it is quite safe in that manner, because even if there is any leakage, only the water will leak, and you just have to arrest that leakage and pump in the water to the system so that the system is up and running again. When you talk about certifications, normally a VRV or a VRF is self-certified. But when you talk about chillers, either it is HRI or a Eurovent certified, which is an external agency, and hence you don't have anything to influence on it. You have to abide by the rules of these agencies and understand how good or bad that chiller is going to perform. Mostly now we see that in tenders, consultants are prescribing that it has to be HRI or a Eurovent certified machine. Adaptability, VRV or a VRF is a proprietary system, and hence the entire accessories should be bought from that specific manufacturer. However, chillers are more generic, which means that because the compressors and I don't know, I mean, the evaporators, the condensers, the expansion valves, the microprocessors, the safety valves, everything is very readily available in the market. So you're not actually married to the manufacturer until and unless you really want to make sure that you're getting a better service and you take up the AMC or a CMC contract. Otherwise, these type of contracts can be outsourced to somebody else, and you can get a I don't know, better softer approach on your pocket that way. Workmanship, again, because VRV is all about copper pipe, it involves a lot of brazing, and hence a very typical workmanship is required, because if any carbon gets into the system, it affects the compressor of the VRV. However, in the chiller, because the copper pipe is restricted only to the outdoor unit and everything happens in the factory, it is a different ball game, and the installation can be done by any contractor who is a little bit experienced enough to carry out MS or a CPVC kind of a installation. Serviceability and life, we have noticed that the VRV, VRFs normally have a life of 7 to 8 years. However, a chiller is manufactured for a lifetime of 20 years. With my experience, I tell you that there are some installations where the chillers have been installed for 20 to 23 odd years and people still do not want to change it. I understand that the technology has changed, the COPs have changed, the IKW per TR has changed, but because the chillers have been working so well, they do not want to get rid of those systems per se. Plus, when you talk about chillers, they are easily modified. You can change any component of that chiller to make it more energy efficient, etc., etc. So a lot of customization can also happen as a retrofit demand on the chillers. So what are the future of chillers in HVAC industry? Demand-wise, when we see, there are three type of applications. One is greenfield projects. Greenfield projects means a new application, a new building which is coming up. A retrofit project, meaning that you are changing your old chiller to a new chiller. And reconstruction of building, which means that you are completely scrapping the old building, constructing a new building, and putting a new installation to that building. So when we talk about greenfield projects, it might be new buildings, industrial developments, food and process industry, smart cities, airports in B-class cities. When you talk about industrial developments post-COVID, we have also seen a lot of demand increasing in pharma industry, hospitals. We have also seen in new buildings, we have seen a lot of new hotels coming up across the country. Smart cities have their own requirement, like metros running in the cities. The metro station will have a chiller requirement. And with increase in the airports in every type of city, there the major demand has come there. We can also add data center to a greenfield product projects, because data centers are always new data centers which are entering into India now. So when you talk about retrofit requirement, it is energy conservation oriented by energy audits. When we would have seen a old chiller installed somewhere, which is a energy guzzler, and when we educate our customers to do an energy audit to show them that how they can conserve energy, how they can save on electricity bills, such a requirement comes up where you are supplying the chiller and buying back the old chiller. Old buildings with old technology chiller, like the recip chillers, or very old models of screw compressors, which used to be energy guzzlers earlier. Then there has been now a trend of shifting from a VRV to chillers, specifically when we talk about the range from 20 TR to 50 TR. Uh, Easy to control, easy to operate, and certified by third party, which ensures a very good saving. Reconstruction of building, old airports getting refurbished, old government buildings getting refurbished, heritage buildings getting advanced, old hospitals getting advanced technology, and also hospitality industry, because today hospitality industry is really focusing on giving more apt services to their customers, and hence they need a better machine to cater to the growing demands of the customers who are staying in the hotels per se. So what is the future of chillers? Technology advancement wise, chillers have become more smarter now. By smart chillers, we mean that they have both BMS and RMS compatibility, very easy to control thanks to the microprocessors which are being installed in the chillers, chiller plant managers, chiller plant optimizers. These are all the technologies which are attached to the chillers to make sure that the chillers are more energy efficient. Then today we have seen a lot of growth in flooded chillers. Even in flooded chillers, because of the decarbonization growing in India, we have seen new technologies getting entered, where less refrigerant charge in flooded machines is also being introduced by many manufacturers. Different refrigerants are being used to manufacture the chiller, basically because of the decarbonization effects. And integrated unit, meaning automatic tube cleaning system or a adiabatic cooling system, which is attached to the chillers to increase the efficiency of the chillers in general. So what actually are smart chillers? They reduce the total connected load, have a very versatile performance. We can do a continuous data monitoring through microprocessor on the basis of the cloud to make sure that we are doing preventive maintenance on the chiller rather than maintain the chiller when it fails. And all these activities are done to reduce the downtime of the chillers. New trends in control, as I just said, building BMS, RMS, CPM, all these come inbuilt today. And the other new trend which we can add to this is a VFD. Today, we sell a lot of inbuilt VFD chillers or inbuilt VFD compressor chillers, which means that you can either have a external VFD attached to the machines in the electrical panel, or you have a inbuilt VFD inside the compressor, which are a little bit more costly, but yes, very, very energy efficient. When you talk about any VFD, you will also attach a harmonic filter to it. So when you talk about new trends, you have active harmonic filters, passive harmonic filters, which are attached to the VFD to reduce the harmonics which are getting generated because of the same. And all these trends are new to the market now. Future of chillers in terms of technological sustainability. Um, UK and European countries have maximum production of 50 to 300 kilowatt in screw chillers. However, we have seen in India, we are manufacturing, the chillers which are, the screw chillers which are getting sold in the market are in the range between 100 ton to 450 ton. So that is the majority of screw chillers which go to the Indian market. Technological advancements like magnetic levitation technology is being introduced. However, we are still observing it on the serviceability point of view. We have seen that this new technology getting introduced has created a little bit of excitement. However, also has created a little bit of ripples in the market. And screw compressors will always be more sustainable when it comes to the future of the chillers. So I'll just summarize what we talked today. We talked basically the basics of chillers, vapor absorption and compression, the types of chillers, their pros and cons, classification on the basis of compressor technology, its application, how the market is growing in the expected years to come, selection of chillers with respect to the energy codes and the refrigerants, comparison with VRV and VRF, future of chillers, demand side view, and are we ready in terms of technology with chillers today trending in the market. So thank you so much for your attention, and I'm open to any questions anybody would have.
Yes. So, thank you, Kshama, for this great presentation. Very insightful, and it took us through a lot of clarity on the topic. So there are some questions that are there on the chat. One
Okay.
is about coefficient of performance against ROI, and where do you see the comparison?
Okay, so when we talk about COP in vis-a-vis ROI, we will more or less talk about IKW per TR here. When we talk about old machines versus new machines, there is a lot of saving when we are doing retrofit, and hence you would see a lot of players now offering energy finance business as a module to prove how well you can save when you are retrofitting a chiller. So return on investment you can only get when you talk about new or old chiller, or when you're talking about greenfield chillers, when you talk about energy efficient machines vis-a-vis a less energy efficient machine, there's a stark difference. You do save a lot of money when you put energy efficient machines, and hence this flooded machines when we talk about screw chillers, or hence more energy efficiency on the compressor has seeped in into the market today.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification. And there's also a question on kilowatt against per efficiency. And the second part of the question is, you discussed about the pros and cons of water-cooled chilling systems. Is it more viable when it comes to kilowatt per refrigeration ton?
I just lost you in between. So
Okay.
can you just
Yeah, so I
this
just
question?
yeah. So I just repeat the
Kilowatt and the
question.
other
One
one?
is one is about kilowatt per efficiency, and the other
Mm-hmm.
question is I'm keen to know about the cons of water cooled chilled is more viable than kilowatt per RT.
Okay. So IKW per TR means how much electricity you are consuming per tonnage. Okay. So when you talk about pros and cons of water cooled and air cooled, the COPs of water cooled machines are always much better than air cooled machine, and hence they are more energy efficient. Hence they will always consume less energy than an air cooled machine. But when you compare a apple to apple comparison, there are a lot of equipments attached to a water cooled machines, meaning condenser pumps, cooling tower, etc., etc. So when you are comparing apple to apple, you have to first understand what is the application where you are applying a water cooled machine, or what is the application where you are applying an air cooled machine, and then apply to it.
So thanks for that. And are there any other questions? Yeah, I have one question. You mentioned about retrofitting. So,
Mhm.
what are the challenges to adopt to the systems when it comes to retrofitting, especially in the industrial sector?
Okay, so basically, when you're retrofitting, you have to keep a broad mind to it, because if you're just retrofitting a chiller with a chiller, it is not going to solve a lot of purpose, because for an industrial application, normally a water cooled range of chiller is used. A water cooled range of chiller is equally dependent on the pumps and the cooling towers. Hence, when you're retrofitting, you have to energy audit the entire system to see whether that kind of a whether just the chiller has gone old, or you are required to replace all the allied equipments attached to the chiller as well. For example, you are retrofitting only the chillers and not retrofitting the allied equipments. It is not going to give you any benefit, because the performance of the chiller is dependent on all the allied equipments. In the similar way, when you talk about any comfort cooling application, when you are actually retrofitting the plant room, you also have to see the HUs and FCUs which were installed ages ago, whether the coils of those HUs, FCUs is good enough or not, and whether you want to retrofit the entire thing phase wise so that you get a better impact to it. And hence, you can reduce the complete energy which is being utilized by the complete building.
Right. Then we have two more questions. One is about would you provide some more details about the R514 refrigerant?
Mhm. So 514 refrigerant is basically used as a immediate shift from 134A. So you can use 514 refrigerant in place of 134A, which reduces about 2% of the capacity of the compressor, which is not too much, and is really softer to the environment, and hence has come into the category where we are talking a lot about R514. So it is
Right.
softer on the with less GWP levels.
Yeah. And then there is a last question. Can you please advise how important is condenser approach, as that is very important for water cooled chiller?
Yes. So a condenser approach is extremely important, because condenser is directly linked to the compressor. When the HP of the machine increases, it increases basically because there is a lot of scaling inside the condenser, and hence affects the approach of the condenser. When HP increases, it affects the motor of the compressor, and hence affects the life of the compressor. Most of the failures of the compressors have happened only because there is a lot of scaling in the condensers, and hence there have been a lot of introduction of automatic tube cleaning systems to the industry, and which has reduced the approach and which has actually made the chillers more healthy.
I think that's about the questions. I can see a lot of comments saying very informative session, and that takes us to the vote of thanks. So may I invite Roshni ma'am for the vote of thanks?
Bhakti, there's just one more last question from Anita.
Okay, sure, sure. So there is one more question. In case of CapEx and OpEx, I think very important question. Tell us the selection of air-cooled or water-cooled chillers. Which one is better?
So in case of CapEx and OpEx, what I would say is that air-cooled chiller is a kind of a plug-and-play kind of a application. Yes, CapEx wise, maybe it is little bit more costly in comparison to water-cooled chiller, but OpEx wise, it is easier to maintain because very less accessories are attached to a air-cooled chiller. When you talk about a water-cooled chiller, because you have a lot of accessories and lot of allied equipments are attached to it, which water-cooled chiller depends on. Hence, I think OpEx of a water-cooled chiller is a little bit more expensive. Yes, but energy efficiency wise, water-cooled chillers are always much better than an air-cooled chiller.
I think that was a really good comparison of both the systems. Are there any more questions?
I would like to ask a question, Bhakti. Roshni
Sure,
here.
sure.
Yes,
Yes.
madam, most welcome.
So, Kshama, this all the compressors you have talked about,
Ji.
are they manufactured in India or all of them come from outside?
Madam, till date, we have not seen any compressors being manufactured in India. Everybody is just importing everything from outside, whether it is Europe, China, or part of Asia. Everybody is importing. I have seen some people assembling the compressors, but again, the major components are getting imported from outside. So the component sourcing is also coming from outside. Basically, by and large, I will say that everybody is importing the compressors. Nobody is manufacturing them in India.
I mean, why so? Is it, I mean, if India has the technology to send something to the moon and back and all that, then why we cannot do this? I mean, what's preventing Indian company from manufacturing compressors?
I think it is a very precise knowledge which is required, and when we go out there to understand or to take a technology transfer of these equipments, people are still depending more or less on China to getting imported. But with Modi ji's campaign of Make in India, I surely can expect some manufacturers seeping in and starting to manufacture the compressors in India in another 2 to 3 years to come. I'm sure there has been some dialogue across to see how we can manufacture compressors in India, and bigger players like Kirloskar or Blue Star and Voltas, they must have at least done mind-boggling to see how they can manufacture the compressors in India.
Okay, my next question is a little rather a kind of political question, because
Right.
you gave a very nice comparison between VRF and chillers. Very nice it was. So what is
Ji.
the role of a consultant? Because generally the customers are not very much aware. So I'm sure, like when I walk along with some consultant in Acrex, like they are treated like demigods. So what's the role? It's rather a political question, but I have a feeling that they play a larger role in somebody deciding whether they want to put a VRF or a chiller. Is it correct, what I think?
Roshni ma'am, today's customer is very, very aware of what they want. Okay.
Okay.
So as a manufacturer, I will tell you that even if we go and educate them, that, for this specific application, VRV is not apt and you have to put a chiller. They
Yes.
will put a VRV even if the consultant is telling them to put a chiller. Okay. I'll tell you why. Because every decision which uh, a customer makes is on the basis of the price.
Correct.
It is only price factor which counts when it comes to specifically the customers who are buying VRVs and VRFs. Okay. A consultant does play a role, but in today's age, like the shift which I have seen in past 5 years, the consultants will give their ideas to the customers and let them choose from that idea. I have also seen that consultants are not involved into buying of capital equipments and the customers are buying them directly from the manufacturers or the dealers or the distributors. So today's customer, thanks to Google, has become extremely aware of what they want and would I will give you a small example on that, madam. We had a customer from a hospital industry, a doctor himself, a very learned doctor, and he was doing all the buying decisions of chillers and heat pumps for his hospital. And you will not believe what kind of in-depth knowledge he had about chillers. So he knew every terminology: COP, IPLV, NPLV, IKW per TR. And when he was sitting in the negotiation, he was not sitting in his hospital. He went to every manufacturer's factory to see the factory and negotiate with them in their premises. So just imagine how aware a customer has become. Consultant has a very big role, but consultant today is giving ideas and getting away. The capital decision is taken by the customer himself.
Okay, that's very encouraging, very encouraging. But is that a one-off case, or you think we can take it as an average?
No, we can take it as an average. We can. We can. Because it's not only hospital. I have seen the similar decisions being made by a pharmaceutical industry, similar decisions being done by a hotel industry, because now everybody has their own engineering teams as well. So everything you do is being cross-checked. So you would have seen that trend coming to you. There is a consultant, then there is a pair view consultant, then there is a PMC. So everybody is being checked, the consultant is being checked by a consultant. Then the consultants are being checked by the PMCs as well. So everywhere there has been a check, okay? And hence, I'm saying that the customer has become more aware today.
Okay, that's nice.
Yes. Thank you so much for your question,
Roshni
ma'am.
ma'am, I would request you to give the vote of thanks for this session.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Kshama is a proven person. So I think her presentation was so, I mean, the pace was very good, like slow and everyone could understand. And your comparison of VRV and chiller was really good. So I think people who know me say that, know that I will not just give compliments without it being really, really genuine.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It means a lot.
So Kshama, it was very good. And only thing I think I missed a little bit because some guest came in here. But thank you very much. And also, Bhakti, please don't entertain anybody asking to share the presentation, because I think that's not correct. That's her intellectual property. It is not to be just distributed. So I always take objection to anybody saying share the presentation. So I wouldn't want Kshama to share her presentation with anybody. So thank you so much, Kshama. It was excellent.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Nivedita, for giving me this platform. Thank you, Roshni ma'am, for a wonderful vote of thanks. And thank you, everybody present in the session, for listening to me patiently. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
This is Nivedita here. I really like to thank Bhakti also to volunteer to take up anchoring for this particular session, and she did a fabulous job. Thank you, Bhakti. Thanks.
Thank you.
Taking care of this.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bhakti
Kshama,
ji. Thank you
always
so
being
much.
there for us, and Meenakshi, of course. our HQ staff who's been around up till late this hour when she should have been at home.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Thank you
everyone.
so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.